Alright, let's talk about Origami King in totally non-scripted manner.
Yeah, let's hope this won't be a complete mess of discussion, but we'll see.
I feel like usually we want these to be like well constructed and comprehensible, but they usually never are because we like don't even have a list of bullet points to talk about.
It starts off in a pretty, in a pretty straightforward and nicely organized way, but then halfway through we're like, oh wait, we forgot to talk about this thing, and then we just
start. Hey, how about this? And then we talk about that.
Yeah, and then we just start crossing the streams.
Mm-hmm. But that's fine. That's fine. Because with the power of editing, which I'm way too lazy to use, I'll definitely like cut around and stuff, and totally won't look weird.
Well, when this video is gonna be uploaded, is the series gonna be over?
I think I'll upload it the day before the finale.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I could do after, but...
Or maybe you could just
why?
Upload it along with the finale.
Along with the finale, on that day, there's already 2 videos.
Oh.
Because it's the finale and then the bonus of us, like, getting 100%.
Oh. Should we maybe just start with...
Maybe just, like, our feelings towards the game in general?
Yeah, maybe that's probably best.
And, like, during the finale video, I wholeheartedly answered to your question, like, oh, out of the recent trilogy, which one's the best? And I answered like, well, of course, Origami King. But thinking about it, these past few days, let's call it a week, it's become tougher and tougher to tell if I like Origami King or Color Splash better.
Yeah,
like,
well,
it's so hard.
Yeah, it depends on, like, Color Splash is better than Origami King in some ways, and Origami King is better in other ways. So it depends on which specific parts you prefer. Like, if we're gonna compare those two, I would say that there are things like, for example, I think Origami King has a superior, like, overworld and, like, exploration aspect, but what Color Splash has better is, like, it feels more disjointed because it's all separate stages, but because of that, it's like every stage has like its own cool thing.
Its individual theme, yeah.
So I think there's a lot more like, a lot more set pieces and a lot more memorable moments, like in that one stage, than in Origami King. There's a lot of like just walking around in between.
Yeah, like. It's like Color Splash, even though there's a lot of like funny stuff in Origami King, I do feel like in Color Splash there were a lot more dumb humorous moments. Like, oh, you go to this alternate universe on an island through a pipe in a toad's backyard, and then you go to the source of a vortex, which is a washing machine where all the enemies wash their clothing.
And then they get upset at you for stealing their washer.
And that's like something you don't really have in Origami King, I feel like.
Like, Origami King, while still being a humorous game, took itself more seriously.
Yeah, and like, it did work sometimes, because, hey, let's talk about this one thing people like to talk about and be split on. Bobby. I think it was handled very well. And it's probably, I don't want to sound like, oh, I got emotional during a Paper Mario game, but it was definitely the most emotional parts of the game for me, where it's like, wow, this character we've known and loved actually died.
Yeah, dude, like, exploring the caves with that music playing, it's like, whoa, yeah. I felt it.
That was really well done. And, in my opinion, it was more well done than like Ollie and Olivia's like little ending spiel. Like, I didn't really get that emotional during that part because I didn't feel that much of a connection to Ollie and Olivia's characters. Like, I felt more of a connection to Bobby.
No, I like the scene with Ollie.
Like the ending scene, you mean?
When he's dying.
Yeah, I guess. But like, I don't know. The entire finale sort of felt like, I don't want to say rushed, but it definitely wasn't a highlight. Gameplay wise, definitely, because the final battle is like the final real boss battle, where it's like an actual boss battle, like all the other boss battles in the game, is like over in a sec, and then just a bunch of button mashing, and then some quick time events. You solve a little puzzle, and you defeated the final boss, and it was kind of lame. Like, the finale has a lot of cool music, definitely, but music-wise, I'm definitely gonna say the game hits a high point in the Blue Streamer chapter.
I mean, everything hits a high point in the Blue Streamer chapter.
It's true. Like, the Blue Streamer is pretty much... You can stop the game after the Blue Streamer. You've seen the best parts of the game. Well, sort of. You haven't seen the tape. Dude, that's amazing. A motorcycle just passed by.
Nice.
Get it? Tape?
Very fitting.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep that in. Yeah, the music is definitely amazing, but then again, like, I was talking to Jade Acer about this, and he said he definitely likes Color Splash more, and like, because he's not big on like into the battle music and the individual area tracks. He actually likes way more in Color Splash, and I can definitely see that. Color Splash has a lot more, again, individual set pieces and better individual music tracks. Like, in this game, I can't really say like, oh, Overlook Mountain is, I guess, a cool little track.
Dude, Overlook Mountain is amazing.
Okay, Lenny, that's fine. But like, what area in this game can you say like, that track was really good?
Well, for me, that's Overlook Mountain. That's, I mean, everything on Autumn Mountain, but that's cheating because it's the Blue Streamer chapter.
Yes.
Everything there is aming.
Yeah, he did concede like the Blue Streamer.
Shroom City, Sniff City. There's still a lot of good tracks, man.
Yeah,
don't downplay
but I do
that.
feel like Color Splash did do it better, like area track wise.
So now, can we talk about like the actual game part of the game?
Sure, Lenny, whatever.
Well, I mean, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah,
is how does the game actually play? Because after Color Splash, it was like, man, Color Splash is cool, but for the next game, please do something different gameplay-wise. And they did.
And they did. But am I happy about it? It's like,
I'm pretty happy about it.
I
still prefer it to Color Splash for sure.
Sure, but like, listening back to our predictions, like, our predictions were way cooler than what the game ended up being.
We set our hopes a little bit too high, maybe.
Yeah, and that's probably the main reason why I'm like sort of on the fence, like, which do I like better, Color Splash or Origami King? Because Color Splash, like, surprised me on how good it was. But for Origami King, like, I came in with expectations of being like, oh, it's probably just another Color Splash, and that's pretty much what it was. So I remember Color Splash more fondly than I remember this game. Yeah, because Color Splash was way more of a surprise on how good it was and how funny it was, how good the music was. So yeah.
I think the big thing with Origami King and the gameplay and like the battle systems is that they're really interesting, but they don't push it far enough and they don't experiment with it enough. It's a lot of missed potential. Like, yeah, it's like we mentioned, you know, the puzzle gameplay is really interesting and really fun to do the puzzle, and then you get it, it's like, oh, nice. And then it's so easy to imagine different ways to play with that. Like, for example, they do it a few times, for example, with the boos that suddenly disappear and you have to remember where they were. Or then near the end of the game, you have the cutout soldiers. Yeah. That like when you spin, you actually fold them back into each other and stuff. Stuff like that is really interesting. The problem is that those are like pretty much the only
barely
ones.
Use it. Yeah.
And yeah, they should have just experimented more with it.
Yeah, and honestly, I probably would have preferred it more if instead of a puzzle with RPG elements if it was a RPG with puzzle elements, where like the way it is now, you do the puzzle correctly, developer intended, and boom, you'll probably win the battle on the first turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine, because you still gotta think like, okay, how do the pieces fit together? How am I gonna solve this puzzle? But I would have preferred it if the player had more input on like how they wanted to do the setups, and like if you had different attacks that could attack different kind of like enemy setups. I mean, I basically got a line and a square, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think a good way to put it is that maybe it would have been better if they thought of the battle system less like a puzzle game and more like a strategy game.
Yeah.
Where it's not about solving a puzzle, but it's about putting things in advantageous formations.
Yeah.
And I agree, that's also one of the big points where it's like, man, missed potential, is that you have different attacks, but you basically just have two attacks. You have attack in a line or attack in a square in front of you. It would have been a lot more interesting if it's like, so you have attack in a line, then you have attack in a square in front of you. Maybe there's an attack where you just attack like in a square, but like at the end. Like
yeah, exactly. Like the hurl hammer could have just been
that just attacks the first circle.
Yeah.
Like you could have done a lot more interesting things.
Yes, they could have, but they didn't.
Mm-hmm. But even then, I still really liked it, and I like solving the puzzles. And
yeah,
I still prefer it over the brain dead color splash, where it's just pick an attack and do the attack, bam.
Well, I still prefer the T2ID way, Lenny.
Well, I mean, yeah, literally everyone does, but I mean...
Because it's like the best of both worlds, because one thing, and Lenny disagrees with this, but I do feel like the battles sort of like put a damper on the flow of the game. There's like, you enter a battle and then, alright, let's stop and think. Think, can we solve this? And then like a minute later, oh, we solved the puzzle, boom, we can finish the battle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot better flow in the T2ID battle style, because like, you don't gotta think too much about what am I gonna do.
Yeah,
but in this game,
it's more
it
just
feels
like
the game's like, you didn't solve the puzzle, bad player.
Yeah, the
right?
crowd goes
like
the
game tells you like, this is what you're supposed to do. And no other Paper Mario game did that. Like, I guess boss battles in Sticker Star and Color Splash, but...
Yeah, I mean, the boss battles in Sticker Star was like the biggest thing, where Kirsty just shits on you like, wow, you could have done that a lot better, couldn't you?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but...
Like,
But since we're talking about battles, and speaking of boss battles, I think, would you agree that is obviously like the best part of the game?
Yes.
The boss battles? Like,
yes.
Those are such a stroke of genius, and the boss battles do what the normals battles don't, which is add in different gimmicks every time.
Yes.
That you have to take
into
account,
time.
and then you have to like rethink how you're gonna approach the board, and that's what makes those interesting.
I think the coolest one that's the least intrusive to how the battle system works is the rubber band, because instead of like following the up arrow straight up, you just get bumped up a ring.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like how the battle system actually could have worked, but the boss battle system could have worked, but it didn't, and it was just used for the rubber band.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so I actually like that one the best.
Yeah, my favorite is still Tape, just for the fact that it's that is the first. It's pretty much the only fight in the game where you're really like, oh fuck, what do I do?
Why is that attack space always there?
And it's like, okay, I can turn this thing, and then the entire board turns. So you're like, fuck.
Like, because I can't.
Yeah, I still think that's my favorite boss, just because like, it's the biggest oh shit moment where you really have to think about what you do.
Gameplay wise, I would probably agree. Let me think. Yeah, I think so. It's like, it's the one where you gotta think the hardest, and you feel like you're getting screwed every step of the way.
Yeah.
Also, it's the boss with the best personality, so...
Obviously, yes.
Well, it's tough, because I really, really, really like Hole Punch.
Yeah. I mean, I like all of the bosses, really. Although, Scissors was a bit meh.
Actually, apparently, people adore Scissors.
Yeah, they adore Scissors because of the, like, one-hit kill mechanic, basically. Be like, oh, it's so threatening.
Yeah. Yeah, but we never saw the craziest stuff.
Yeah, because we were smart. Too good at the game.
No, we were smart about battling. We listened to what the boss told us. Where he was like, oh, if you break this cover, you'll be fucked. And we're like, oh, let's not break the cover. Like, we did miss, like, he does fake outs and stuff. Yeah, slow attacks, fast attacks. Like, he whiffs, and then he does the real cut. So it's like, it's a lot more threatening if you actually take longer. But we just didn't see that because we were smart people. So yeah, that definitely felt like the lamest. Well, I mean, it's like, it doesn't really compare well because the colored pencils were so basic because they were the first real boss battle. Like, as the boss battles keep going and they get tougher and tougher and more interesting, I feel like the Scissors was a step down.
Yeah,
no matter which way you look at it.
Yeah, I mean, so it's
like
there wasn't really much strategy involved. It was just don't hit the cover and then just dodge the attack, and that's it basically.
And use the Ice Elemental because it's only Elemental you haven't used. Also, if you break the cover from the start, you actually get rid of the Ice Elemental forever. You can't get it back. Yeah,
that's interesting.
So if you're dumb, yeah, that battle is threatening. But I mean, if you listen even for a sec to what he says, like, it wouldn't be. So yeah. I think, yeah, I've seen the death animation. It like cuts you in half, and it's cool, but I don't know. Game over and stuff. Can I talk about bad design real quick?
Sure.
Like, Game Over made me think of it because people have told us there's like, okay, you have the 100% star icon for your file.
But then
there's two others.
There's 102%.
Yeah, for no game overs and not using equipment, like the what are they called?
Accessories.
Yeah, battle accessories, which is really bad design because it's not telegraphed at all to the player that that's a thing. That leads into the fact that I really dislike the accessories. Because it's like, sort of like, you can equip these and then you get a stronger variant. But like, okay, do I need more BP to equip this? And they're like, yeah, what's BP? So it's just like free easier mode. Yeah. And it's not well telegraphed because when you see the option in the menu, you get like the puzzle solver. That's obvious to me. It's like, okay, that's Babby mode. I'm not going to use this. But then the accessories are less so Babby mode, but it's still like, yeah, they just make the game easier, and there's really no reason to use them. So, yeah. But then the no game over stuff, that is complete and utter bullshit, because you wouldn't get that ever on a regular playthrough, or especially your first playthrough, because the game is not as littered as Color Splash, but still pretty littered with instant game overs.
Yeah.
So that is so bullshit. Like, you wouldn't get that.
Don't let the stone in the Earth Elemental Temple roll over you, or you're walking in the jungle, don't let the chain chomp get you like once.
Yes. Don't like follow Kamek each time, or otherwise you won't get this like file thingy. And now if you want to get it, you gotta delete your save file and play the entire game again. Because there's no like new game plus option where you start the game again, but you still have the start. No, you just gotta delete your file because every like a Switch account only has one file.
Well, yeah, but just have a different account.
Yeah, sure, I guess. but it's still real lame. It's just bad design to have that. Like, it's cool because this game definitely lends itself more to challenge type runs. Well, a lot more than Color Splash, because what were you going to do in Color Splash challenge-wise? Not use paint? Like, those were real lame. But in this game, there's a lot of stuff you can challenge yourself with. Like a scavenger run, where you only use like stuff you find on the field, never use shops, don't use the one-ups. Maybe even you only use a regular hammer and boots. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can do in this game compared to Color Splash.
You can even like just like don't solve the puzzles.
I think that would be hard.
But that'd probably be a bit tough.
I mean, it probably really isn't, because enemies really don't do that much damage. I mean, if you're doing a scavenger run along with that, I'm pretty sure it would be impossible, because you'll run out of mushrooms and stuff. I mean, I'm assuming you don't use benches also, so. Yeah, bad design. What we were talking about before the bad design, bosses?
Yeah, but I think we talked about the bosses and how they're the best part of the game, and the gameplay in those fights is really cool, and they change it up every time, which is what the normal battles should have done.
Hey, I'm gonna defend and shit on or complain about Hole Punch for a sec.
Okay.
Because I love everything about him. The only problem, like, the clever thing about him is how he has a very low attack power, but the way he accounts for that is by like cutting your HP every time. And if you don't dodge his really strong like charge move, he'll actually like hole punch you twice in a single move. So your HP can literally get down to like the 20s or like to the 10s. And that's really cool to have a boss that does like, I don't know, 5 HP, like 2 or 3 5 HP hits, but it'll cut your HP each time. So maybe the battle would have been better if you can get your phase back or something. I don't really know, but I feel like there's a really clever thing there, but it's not really that well used. Also, you can just completely ignore the holes he cuts into the battlefield. That's just a whatever thing he does.
Yeah.
So I want him to be cooler because I love him and his music. I love Hole Punch. It's my favorite boss track.
I know, man, it's not tape.
It isn't tape because it's better. It's also the best thinking boss music.
Well, that is true, yes.
I choose my words carefully, because if I said it's the best thinking music, Lenny would be like, nope, Autumn Mountain, bitch.
I mean, you can't beat Autumn Mountain, man. You just can't.
It's true. Even the thinking music is great.
Yeah, speaking of which, like, I mean, we definitely both agree that the Blue Streamer chapter is like the best.
I'm not sure how I feel about the Water Elemental Temple, because like the slidey puzzles, because we're bad at them, I guess, but
no, I
kind of disliked them.
I think temple-wise, the Water Elemental is probably my favorite, actually. Well, no, the Ice Elemental Temple is good too.
Yeah, exactly. Like, looks-wise, the Water Elemental is really neat because of all the blues, but I feel like the puzzles and stuff were, I don't like slidey puzzles. But, you know, ice was cool. Because those kind of slidey puzzles I like.
But the other chapters were still pretty good. I think some of them are pretty flawed. Like, for example, I know a lot of people are like, oh, but like, the Yellow Streamer chapter is also so good. And it's like, the Yellow Streamer chapter has a lot of highlights.
Yeah, like, a lot of the downtime.
Like Sniff City is so good.
Yes.
But driving around in the deserts and like going to the towers, that's a lot of downtime where it's like, meh.
Yeah, exactly.
But then you have the Temple of the Shrooms, which is really cool. So
yeah, it's really cool. And
again,
there's like
it's a
4
chapter with
different
a lot
tracks.
of high points, but there's a lot of stuff in the middle. It's kind of a similar thing with the Purple Streamer. Where it's like, I mean, I think it's more fun to drive around with the boat than do it with the boot car, because like you're going all across the sea, but then you have the treasure maps, and then you can see like, oh, you find these fish and they lead you to treasure, and then you have like the golden marlin that like gives you money. Like there's more stuff to do while you're going all over the place.
Well, the sea is also bigger than the desert.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's, it's like there's a lot more like cool little things. Like, oh, you see a Shy Guy standing somewhere, and it'll tell you something.
Yeah, it'll give
or
you
Spike.
hints. Like,
Like a lot of the islands were like tiny little puzzle thingies, and those were cool. The desert just a big empty area.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's go to this part. Get all the treasure, get all the toads, walk to the tower, have Olivia talk about it for the fourth time for no reason. So yeah, I think the chapter with the most egregious downtime is definitely the yellow streamer.
Yeah.
Green was okay.
I think green
Like,
was...
It's tough because the dialogue is really good.
Green, but mostly just because Kamek and Bowser Jr.
Yes.
But walking around in the spa, like the spa area was cool, but it wasn't as special as like, you know, going across the sea or being in Autumn Mountain and like, or being like in this cool, funky
being
disco
in Autumn
desert
Mountain.
town.
Yeah.
But then once you fight the Sumo Bros and then you go to Bowser's Castle, that's when the chapter really becomes really good again.
Yes, exactly. Because the horror moments with the Hanakana and stuff, and like suddenly like, oh, this like Kamek disappears, and like the music just stops.
Yeah, you're like, well, shit, that's
Like,
not normal.
What's this? And then you go to like the dark area, and it's like, oh, what's happening? And then you go to Kamek's room, you exit, and Olivia gets taken by
A shadow hand.
a floor master or a ceiling master. I don't know, wall master. And it's like, that's really, really cool. And you walk outside, you see these big, scary, floppy dudes.
And like
It's
floppily
what
walking to you.
What the fuck is this? And then it's over in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's so cool though.
Yeah, it is really cool. And the Hanakana fight is still like it's very simple, but it's still like one of the most memorable bosses, I think.
I don't really like how it ends with rock, paper, scissors, but I see why people would disagree.
I think it's just a really neat thing where, since the hand, it can just like flick away at the attack panel you're going to.
Yeah.
If you're going like right next to it, or if you're throwing your hammer from toward it, just grabs it and throws it away.
That's before the rock, paper, scissors
Yes, exactly.
part. Yes. And that part I don't really like. I think it would have been cooler if we arm wrestled it or something.
Yeah, that would have been way cooler actually.
Right?
Yeah, like you just arm wrestle and then like have to mash the button and like bam, you slam it into the ground.
Mm-hmm. That could have been a cool finisher for that battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you fight the scissors, who also doesn't have a cool finisher. I mean, I don't think he does. We just smashed them.
Yeah, sometimes it's weird, like, sometimes the finisher is just like, oh, you hit him really hard with the 1,000-fold arms. And then other time it's like, okay, you grab a stapler and then you just break its spine, basically.
Spine! I love that one because we were totally caught off guard.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. Like, the pencils were one of the best up until the stapler.
Yeah.
A rubber band was neat. Like, you flick it away.
Oh, that's
or,
actually
like,
really
you
fun
shoot
to
it away.
do, like to pull it
Yeah.
back and then let go.
Yeah. It's like I'm in high school all over again.
Yeah. Well, the one thing gameplay-wise we can still talk about is just like we talked about the battles, but then we can talk about like the overworld a bit more maybe. That how like it was really a nice change of pace from from Color Splash, where it was a lot more open and like little nooks and crannies where you could like, oh, you can go behind this thing, and there was like a secret area with like treasure chests.
Oh, and a toad. Hey, let's collect toads.
Yeah, but they're
Like-
all folded up in really fun ways.
I know, but I feel like there should have been a few less toads.
Yeah, well, the weird thing to me is that they throw like a billion toads at you at the beginning, but the further you play, the less toads you find. And by the end, like how many toads are there in the Green Streamer chapter? Like 5 or something?
None? There's none.
Yeah, it's so weird.
There's one, you rescue the scientist toad. Who's stuck in the fax machine.
Yeah.
But that's it.
So it is weird that they didn't just like spread them out evenly, and it's just like, oh, okay, you first walk into Picnic Road, and then there's like 25 or 30 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, find them all, like just throw them at you. But then the further you go, it's just like, it's just a few. Like it's kind of weird.
Like, I'm okay with the clever toads, but like, like in the desert, you rescue a toad and they're like, oh, this is Sandpaper Miner. Okay, thanks, bye. It's like, why do you exist? couldn't you have had funny dialogue, please? And then the non-bottomless holes were also kind of lame. It's like, they really felt like they had to have another colorless spot thing, but it's like, why was that necessary?
Yeah. The one thing that's cool is in Overlook Tower.
Yes.
But like,
yes.
It's the only place where they do something like that, where it's like you have to fill in the holes to like progress.
100% agree. That is neat. That could have been like a gimmick for that area. We're like, oh, there's a confetti bag. Isn't that cool? And then you do that only for that part. It's like for the rest of the game, it's really just whatever.
It's basically just
like, oh, look, a hole. Yeah, it's filled. All right, let's continue.
Yeah, it feels more like the developers were simply thinking like, okay, we need a way to add another like completion percentage thing. And it's like not really warranted. Like, I don't mind, but it's hard to say that it adds a lot to the experience.
Also, as cool as the 1000-fold arms are, I feel like they're very underutilized in the field. It's like you use them like that one time to get a little bug on the mountain, on the cliffside, and then hey, you got the toad, but then like, it's like, yeah, you tear up some stuff, but like, there's nothing really that cool. Like, I think it's really neat in Origami Castle where you're like, they grow like super long and you like put the bridge back into place. Like, that's probably the coolest use of the 1000-fold arms.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Like, the weird...
Tell me one time they were memorable.
Yeah, like, the weird thing is that, I mean, first of all, a lot of time it's just like, there is the spot. You go to the spot and you do the thing, and it's like, cool, you did the thing. There's no actual like puzzling involved.
Yeah, exactly.
Like at most,
well, one time there is in Origami Castle again.
Move around a little bit to find like, oh, this is the part where the paper falls, and then you grab it. Like
Flurry
it would have been better if it's like you can get the 1000-fold arms, and then you can like maybe like walk around to do a bunch of stuff like push blocks around, hit a lever, whatever.
Yes.
It's not just basically just do the thing to win.
This game would just benefit from more Overworld type abilities. It's like, oh, you go to the desert and you have the professor who can dig up some stuff. All right, neat.
Yeah, actually, I found a good way to explain how I feel about the 1000-fold arms thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna compare it to Kirby. Actually, I think the way the 1000-fold arms are now is kind of like the Ultra abilities in Returns of Dreamland, where it's just like you're in this spot. Okay, you use 1000-fold arms to do the thing, and that's it.
Nah, you still walk around with the Ultra abilities.
What it should have been is like Hypernova, where you have the ability, then you can walk around and you can like pull things, or like you can push things, you can manipulate the environment.
Yeah.
I remember like at first when they first announced the game, I assumed like, oh, the 1000-fold arms thing is gonna be one transformation of like maybe 3 different kinds.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case.
Yes. Same for developmentals. It's just like you get there, boom. fixed.
Now, the elementals also seem a bit weird, where it's like, oh, you come across this roadblock. Oh, there's an elemental temple here. You go to the temple, you get the elemental, cool, you use it there, problem solved.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Yeah.
It feels like a forced thing, like, okay, how can we, like, block the player from progressing so that we can add in more gameplay?
Yeah. I mean, it's fine the way they did it, but it feels like just, oh, let's get the elemental, boom, problem fixed.
Yeah. I think, like, well, that's the thing in general with this game, is that it's really, it is fun and it is cool, but it's also very easy to see how they could have improved it. It's hard to say if it's because of like time constraints or budget reasons.
Oh, you know why battles are also lamer? Well, why battles are kind of for me in this game? In Color Splash, enemies have funny dialogue. In this game, like, I guess the toads talk in battle, but they're really lame and dumb,
also
and they say the same thing every single time.
Yeah, like the toads say a bunch of stuff, and first like, oh, that's cute. But the problem is that they say the same stuff every single time.
Yep.
I
mean, so do enemies in Color Splash, but there's a lot more variety.
Well, yeah, there's a lot more enemies. Like, the toads always say the same thing. The only time where they say something different is when you're fighting the boss.
Yeah.
Like, in normal battle, there's sort of been more, you know, like, commenting like, oh, you're fighting Hammer Bros. And so they maybe say something about the Hammer Bros specifically. But no, it's just, use a fire flower.
Yep, they always say that. Use the fire flower, use the tail. But then when you use the tail, they go like, I love the tail! That's it. Or use a mushroom, or fucking shut up, toads. Speaking of shut up, Olivia!
Olivia's cute.
Yeah. Yes. And as we've established, Lenny, you know this. I love cute things. But Olivia just gets grating.
Are you gonna explain your point?
I explained it in the finale video. No, it's like, when you first meet her, it's like, oh, cute. She's a fish out of water. She, like, doesn't know anything because she was just born. But then, that's literally all she is. You see a new thing, and then, she wonders about this, and she doesn't know what it is. And maybe she'll mispronounce a word. Isn't that funny and quirky? But that's not funny the 100th time. And, like, for example, in the desert, when every single tower you get to, you reach a tower, she's like, oh, these lanky little guys are funny. Then you walk up to the tower, you light the fire, you walk outside, and then, oh, it moved. Isn't that weird? For every tower. And then Lenny was like, yeah, but Huey does that too. But, I don't know, I feel like Huey had more flair, and he did that less. I like Huey better, okay? God damn it. And it's weird because I love cute things. It just, Olivia got grating to me.
I don't think she ever got grating, but I will say that she feels a lot more like one note than Huey did. Whereas like I liked Olivia, and I do like the fact that it shows like her insecurities and like her doubts about finding Ollie, like facing up against her brother and stuff. But I did think, just for a little bit, when you're in Origami Castle, right before the boss, and Olivia sits on the bench and is like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. I did for a second think like, Olivia, this is like the 5th time you're doing this.
Yeah. And that's for a lot of stuff with Olivia. But like, for the 5th time she tells Ollie, you've gone too far. And for the 5th time she talks about not knowing a thing. It's like, Olivia, we get it. The first 3 times it was cute, now it isn't anymore.
Yeah, I still really like her, and I also just like, you know, the fact that, you know, her relationship with Ollie. I think that's an interesting, you know, aspect to her. But I think in general, I do have to agree that I had a lot more fun with Huey.
Huey, yeah. It was just, he's, like I said, he's the asshole friend who's an asshole, but you like him. You just get into trouble together. That's Huey, and I like it way more. As it's sort of like, I feel like if I liked Olivia more, I would like the ending more. Because, like, the moment they share would have been more emotional for me if I cared about them as characters more. But I didn't care that much. That ending is made for me. Where it's like the music, like Olivia's final magic circle music, is like so epic. And it's like you whack Ollie, and the music is booming, and like I want to like that moment more. But it's like I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's the characters. I don't really feel for, especially Olivia, that much. So the ending wasn't as good as it could have been.
But yeah, we had this discussion after we beat it, and the thing
we barely
is,
did. I actually edited that video today. We barely did.
Well, no, we did. No, we discussed it, but it was like not when we were recording. It was just afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
We just between the two of us. And the thing is, like, I agree. My thing is that you have, like, the fact that the ending to the game is like a bunch of quick time events, basically. For me, it's like something like that doesn't bother me if there was a normal battle before it.
Yes,
like
exactly.
It's the same thing for me where people were like, oh man, in Breath of the Wild, the final battle is like, oh man, it's such a disappointment because it's so easy, you just can't die. And it's like, yeah, but I got like a quote unquote real boss before that, so I don't mind because I got my fights already. And here it was the same. The only problem is that the fight that we did get was much too simple.
So lame. Especially because all the other boss battles in the game, well, pretty much all the other boss battles in this game, had their own gimmick and were super clever and cool. But then Ollie's was just like sort of like an afterthought, I feel like. He didn't really do anything.
Yeah, well, the thing is that
it was the lamest like board layout also. Like you got the Vellumental and the hand and that's it.
Yeah, like
there were no cool things
the
about
big
the
thing
battle.
To me is that, and that is a thought I have in general with the whole ending, is like what they're doing is really cool and I love it. Like fighting Ollie Vellumentals with their own Vellumentals is fucking sick. I love that. The problem is how they do it. The fact that, so he turns into a Vellumental, and then, now we have to go to the Vellumental space on our own, and then get our own Vellumental to counter it. And it's like, that's cool. Only problem is, one, it's much too easy to get to the Vellumental space. If it had to be more tricky to get there. And then the second problem is, once you do, and you do your attack, half of Ollie's HP is just gone. So it's like, if you just do it twice, and he's dead. You don't even get to see all of the Vellumentals. It's so weird. Like even if it just was like, that was a quarter of his health, so you have to do every single Vellumental, that already fixes something. But still, it's just too simple to like solve the puzzle and get to the spot.
But they probably did that, and I probably should have researched this before. But like when Ollie uses a Vellumental, the space gets dimmed out. He can't use the same Vellumental twice.
Yes.
So maybe they also the only Vellumental that can heal is the Ice Vellumental, right?
I don't know.
Or maybe they all can heal. But like, what happens if he uses all of his Vellumentals?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you fight just Ollie? That wouldn't be the case, right?
Yeah, probably not. I don't know. You'll have to check it out with and make like a cool video about it that gets like a ton of views.
Yeah, and I'll make it super clickbaity, and everybody will watch, and it'll be my most watched video, even though I put zero effort into it.
Yes.
like Death by Toads, which I have a love-hate relationship with.
Yeah. So, and while we're still talking about the final boss, it's a similar thing with the other phases, where it's like the phase after this, where you have the origami sumo fight.
Yeah.
Again, that's the thing where it's like, I love that because it's taking something that's like real life origami and using it, putting it in the final boss. It's so cool. I love the way that they're inspired by actual origami in that way.
Yeah.
But again, the only problem is that it's a very simple thing, but it comes after a fight that was already simple.
Yeah, maybe those should have come before the real boss battle.
Yeah, maybe.
Because now it just feels like, quick and easy boss battle, and then just some random fluff till the end. And like, they're cool, disjointed, individually disjointed moments, but in this grand scale of the finale, they feel really lame. Yeah, final thoughts. Oh, actually, should we mention... We did mention it during our walk around, getting to 100% in the finale video. But like, as Arlo put it, the... what did you call it again? It was way over-exaggerated. He called it, let's talk about that disturbing Origami King interview. And I was like, God damn it, guy. Stop over-exaggerating. But like, it's true. In that interview, they talked about, we can't really do any new stuff because Mario has to be this homogeneous thing that uses these characters. But then what's up with Odyssey? Why does Mario Odyssey get, like, to invent entirely new races and enemies and stuff?
Yeah, it's a bit odd how, like, some games get different treatments than others. I'm guessing maybe it's just because, like, Paper Mario is like a side series, so they have more rules. But then, like, the main Mario series, they have more freedom. I don't know, but it is very odd.
Like, honestly, I don't even need unique characters, I guess, because I'm fine with, like, having a Professor Toad. Like, that's at least more interesting than just a Toad. But if this game had, like, the T2ID gameplay, it would have been so good.
Of course it would.
So final thoughts. I'm totally fine with how Paper Mario is right now, but the one thing I still long for is better battle gameplay. Like, it doesn't even need to be battle gameplay, but just do something interesting. Please. Like, you were so close with this game. The boss battles were amazing, but the regular enemy battles were like, yeah, whatever, because there's no real reason to do the enemy battles. Oh, you get coins, and you need coins. Yeah, how many coins did we have at the end of the game, Lenny?
I don't even remember.
100,000? So we could have skipped, like, half the enemies and still had enough money. So it's like, yeah. Give me more reason to do battles than just get money.
Yeah, I think my general thoughts are like, I really like this game. Still very easy to see how it could be better. They're still not all the way there yet, but I like, I don't mind the Paper Mario series the way it is now, where you just do different things. It's just, make sure that the different thing is really good. Oh, I guess the one thing maybe that I remember, we maybe mentioned it in the video, but how it's like, it's really cool. I want them to do different things. But at the same time, do you need the same framework of, there always has to be a Shy Guy quiz show, and there always has to be a sacrifice at the end where your partner character just disappears forever.
Actually, yeah. About that, like, did Olivia just want to die, or is that just poor word choice?
That's the joke, right? It's just poor word choice. Like, wow, Olivia, you could have survived if you just rephrased it a little differently.
Like, that's a legitimate question. Even in the video, I was like, did she know? And I still don't know if she knew. I wouldn't say she did, but then I don't really get why she did it. Maybe she was like, if Ollie's dead, let's just kill me. I don't know. That makes the ending a lot sadder, actually. But, yeah, okay. So yeah, there's definitely a framework that they could stand to, like, loosen up a bit. Well, the one thing people are waiting for now is, like, remakes of the original games. I'm not really sure if that's...
The thing is, I was one of the people
be a thing.
that always said, like, the first Paper Mario game getting a remake, that is gonna happen at some point. I have zero doubt in my mind that that's gonna happen at some point. But now, with the interview and, you know, all the quote-unquote rules that they have, now I'm not so sure anymore if it's gonna be a thing, because it's just too different.
I mean...
from the Mario image of today.
I mean, and people would be pissed if they just changed the gameplay and the characters.
That's the thing. You can't just do a remake and then go like, oh, the Star Spirits are like Lumas or whatever.
Hey, they did that in that one remake.
And Dugans are like just Toads again.
It's like, it would be so cool to see a remake, but it's like, it seems so obvious and it would sell well, but it's like, I don't get it. I know Fire Emblem is your money-making machine, Intelligent Systems, but please. Like, I like Fire Emblem, but please. I know, that is it, I guess. I mean, I could talk about this game forever. About what I like and what I dislike.
Yeah, but I think we summed it up pretty well.
I think the playthrough sums it up pretty well.
Well,
yeah, I still stand by a lot of my initial
and thoughts during the playthrough.
Yeah, I still stand by a lot of my initial reactions. So if I'm like, well, I think hidden locks are busy work, yeah, I still believe that. Yeah, but what about the Star Piece battles, fat guy? The originals? Yeah, they were also busy work. It's not like I'm defending them. Yeah, that's it. That is truly it.
Yes.
Like, if we wait 9 more seconds, we'll be at an hour.
Alright, bye guys. See you when the next Paper Mario game comes out.
Remember to like... Wait, we're only gonna see him when the next Paper Mario comes out?
Yes, this channel is going on hiatus for like 3 years.
For like 4 years. Bye guys. I'll be back. I'm also deleting my Discord and my... I'll be privating all of my videos up until the next Paper Mario hits. See you then!
Bye!